Gotta win it here. We gotta win it here. We're not winning it, you know. Come on, boys.
What's this? Van Dijk, here we go. Virgil, bang, goal.
Oh my days. Oh my days. Oh my days.
Oh my God.
Oh my days. Oh my days.
See you man later, yeah?
Oh, that's it. That looked like handball from McTominay there, but Man United on the front foot. This is the chance for Rashford. He scored.
Rashford, 3-0! For the love of God!
Then we mess around again and mess around again and mess around again.
Reach him.
Go on, Elliot.
It's going to drop.
Bang it, Elliot.
Elliot is dispossessed, and here comes Man United on the counter. It's 2v1. Conor Bradley's the last man. He scored. United have done it. They've scored.
Oh my God, we've given it away in the counter-attack. We've given it away in the counter-attack. Oh no, no, no. United have won it. United have won it at the death.
Almost into Virgil, to be fair. Oh my God, look how we lose the ball. Look how we lose the ball. Counter-attacking opportunity here for Man United. Garnacho, Amad Diallo, shot, and they score, and they win the game at the dead. And this is the absolute most pathetic, disgraceful performance of Liverpool Football Club this whole year. So complacent, such an idiotic decision there from Harvey Elliott. And Liverpool are out the cup.
Conceded again.
Rashford akhirnya cetak gol lagi, bangsat.
He's done it!
And he played the right pass, and he scores to make it 3-3.
And they score, and they win the game at the dead.
It's over! It's over! 4-3, Ahmad! And that's for the chat! Goal!
We scored! Goal! We're winning this game! We're winning this game! Let's go!
We are Liverpool. Cha-la-la-la-la. We are Liverpool. Cha-la-la-la-la. We are free.
Hello and welcome back to the Top 6 Show, sponsored by our brilliant friends at Match Bingo. Get their app downloaded right now. We'll tell you more about them later in the show, but get it downloaded now by scanning that QR code. How is everybody? Did you enjoy it? It was a very much a feature-length intro today. Thoughts?
It was hilarious still. I couldn't stop laughing.
I have some criticisms.
We should change "You Will Never Walk Alone" to "You'll Never Stream Alone" instead. That's exactly what Callum did. And it's funny how we've only got one Liverpool fan below me by himself, so he's streaming alone. So
yeah, most Liverpool, in fairness, most Liverpool, most Spurs fans were very busy today. They told me they're all busy and not really available. So yes, it is what it is. But epic weekend of football, loads to delve into. Of course, brilliant FA Cup ties. Chelsea's match, which I didn't review yesterday. I was at my daughter's dance show. But man like Mo did it for us. So we'll be touching on that and a new Carl Palmer deal. Of course, we're going to look back at the biggest game of the weekend. Manchester United beating Liverpool 4-3. We're looking at the Ben White situation at Arsenal, with the media really on the attack today. I want to get some views and opinions in relation to that as well. And I want to throw this into the mix a bit later in the show. A lot of players pulling out of a lot of teams in the title race. A lot of players pulling out of their international teams. I want to get everyone's thoughts and feelings on that. But there is no better place to start than with the Lily Whites of North London. And I'm sorry, Kate. I'm sorry, Kate, but I want to start with Spurs because I know you came on the match reaction on Saturday, but maybe the events of Sunday have kind of overshadowed it. But I'll go to the panel first. I mean, it was an absolute spanking Spurs took against Fulham at the weekend. And I want to go to Dio first on this because there was a lot of chest in the last 7 or 8 days from Spurs fans about how they were going to end this season. What went wrong for them, in your opinion, on Saturday?
Everything. I think everything went wrong for them on Saturday. And I think so here's the thing is the Spurs fans who actually think that they're going to get anything this season are not here for me to roast them. It's not Kate I want. Kate doesn't deserve this because she's reasonable. Like if you like honestly, like if you look at some of the things that they've said, some of the things that has come out of their mouths, and I'm just like, hold on, what are you talking about? This is Fulham we're talking about here. Fulham is a difficult team. Yes, they're not looking the best on the table, and this is what people don't understand about football. You might be the best team, but in that moment that you're playing, that other team might just have that little bit of luck and that little bit of drive. You can do all you want, and you're still not going to win. We've seen it happen this season time and time again, where Arsenal has outplayed other teams and they've scored. We played Fulham, and we saw how tough they were. We played Fulham, and we're top of the table right now with goals different, but we saw how tough Fulham was. So when Tottenham is going there, and they're like, yeah, our first 11 is going to batter anybody, everything went wrong for them. Every single thing. And his high line is going to become a hairline very soon. Keep playing high line, yeah. Just keep playing that high line consistently. Ange ball, or his do or die. Like he feels like just one track. That's the only way I'm going to play. So for me, it's like, yeah, everything that they had planned wasn't going to work. For some reason, they made Iwobi look like prime Ronaldinho. Like I'm like, how Iwobi could not make first team in Arsenal consistently.
Everton let him go.
Yeah,
Everton let him go. But like, I think it's about time we start giving Marco Silva some flowers, because when like Watford are Watford, we all know what they do with their gaffers. Hull were in a bad situation. Everton are in a bad situation. Even like Don Ancelotti couldn't go in there and fix things up. And he's gone to Fulham, and Fulham are quite a steady club. And at home, they're formidable for the size of their club. Not many teams go to Fulham and get results. So I think they've picked up now 28 points this season at home. So what made them think that they'll be able to go down there? Same with Arsenal when we went down there at Christmas time, thinking we'd just be able to go down there. All we had to do was turn up. They've took 4 points off us this season, and we're still top of the league. He gets teams playing, and that midfield is nice. João Palhinha, the fact that we were able to keep hold of him, he was about to go to Bayern. They kept hold of him. Pereira's now getting into the Brazil national side. Like, who would have thought that over the years? So I think we need to give them a bit of flowers. I don't think it is all on Tottenham. I think Tottenham did what most clubs have done with their mindset of thinking they could just turn up, get their 3 points, go home and enjoy themselves. And especially after the performance that Spurs put in last week against Villa, because I don't know whether that was an amazing Spurs performance or a terrible Villa performance, but the combination of the two helped them slap 4 goals in 45 minutes. So I think they were trying to ride off that wave, but that's not how the Premier League works, and everybody should know that by now.
Are we all taking turns, by the way? Just to quickly, I've got to go.
Yeah,
pray.
come on.
I've got to go pray in a minute. But I just thought, you know what it is with Spurs? They're at this round table that they don't deserve to be in just because they made a Champions League a few times. Yeah, it's like having a table, then the high chair for the baby, innit? Like, what have they really done? Just because they got a bit of money and a little bit of a steady Eddie thing going on because of that man that they got their chairman in Daniel Levy. You know, if it's Man United, when we put in poor performance after poor performance and then have one good game against Wolves in performance, why is it not the same energy for the media, darling? Because he says mate and he wants to say like whatever he wants to say. Like, I don't.
What do you
understand.
mean they're at a round table?
With a big six.
Yeah, but we're not, are we? Because that's a stupid statement.
Anyways,
the Premier League table doesn't lie.
Kate, let me finish. Thank you very much. Anyways, on that note, I was just thinking like they put in one good performance since about January, if we're being totally honest, and that was recently against Villa. Why is it not the same thing? We got told as soon as they get their 11 back, right? They're going to be doing the bust in the league. Like we got.
Yeah, but Van der Ven was missing. Van der Ven was missing. That's
what about Vujac centre back? What about Vujac centre back? Dragushin, bring out the dragon, enter the dragon. So yeah, do you know what I mean? Like I just think this whole thing is overrated. Do I think Ange is a big flange? I call him these days. Is a good manager. I think he's a really good manager. I would love to have him personally, but this is what I mean: arrogance within the fan base. Relax.
You've got to touch on a question I wanted to. I was listening to Talk Sport at one point over the weekend, and a couple of Spurs fans phoned in and said they think that Big Ange is a bit of a one-trick pony. His teams play one way, and if that doesn't work, they kind of come unstuck as an example. Paddy, what do you make of that? I mean, he's had a really big impact on the Premier League in terms of making an impression. There's been some brilliant results, some good runs. You know, they're in contention for a Champions League place, but do you think there is maybe a lack of criticism for Big Ange?
I don't understand. Like your Kaz is talking about the difference in expectation from United and Spurs. Spurs are in their first year of a rebuild. Ange is coming into his first big job. Well, obviously Celtic is a massive club, but you know, I think they've been doing a great job. The 3 points off fourth with a game in hand. I don't understand why they're getting flack. You know, they've not spent crazy money. I think he's doing a good job. They're quietly going about their business. But at the end of the day, Spurs are Spurs. They're never going to be dominating and winning things and winning major trophies. They haven't won a trophy since 2007. So I think Spurs fans are kind of realistic. And if they were to get top four in Ange's first season, it'd be a massive success. And they're on course for doing that. So I don't know why there's a massive uproar. Like, yeah, losing to Fulham's not ideal, but they're a solid side, and especially at home. So Spurs, I think Ange's doing a great job, and I think he'll only get better.
Paddy,
yeah.
There's a reason why they're getting all that slack. Ange came out and said top four is not a spot for him. He wants to win. This is what Ange said. So you have to understand. No, hold on. So yeah, he said that in an interview.
Say that to be
no.
fair.
No.
You don't walk into a club and say, I really want to get mid-table.
No. But you have to.
Spurs, what I've been doing over the years. So they turn around and say, we want to be mid-table. They're going to get cooked for that.
See, there are better ways to put it. Though you can say, look, I just got it. This is my first year. You can see how our football is better. We're doing really good. We're on track to actually make more plans to do better than we're doing this season. Just let's give the boys time. We have a few injuries here and there. We'll work on this. There's better ways to say than to say the words top four is not my goal. Like my goal is to win. When you say those words specifically like that, you've put yourself in a category where people are going to expect for you to win. And when you don't win, you're going to get slack. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't
really help. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't really help that facts like Jamie O'Hara turned out and said that this season, Arsenal are going to be doing nothing. Liverpool are going to be doing nothing. It's only City that they really need to catch up with. So the expectations there, I think maybe some Spurs fans might have felt what he was saying and then got overexcited. But let's be honest, like they've done well over the last few years, finishing top four on a regular basis, a Champions League final a couple of years ago. So the expectation is there. And I feel like now they have got someone like Ange, someone who wants that stability. I think that I don't think he was the most expensive manager out there either. So I don't feel they would have had much of an issue backing him in that way as well. Like it's not much of a loss if anything goes wrong. Like they've had Conte, they've had Mourinho, and the expectation is there to spend. The expectation isn't there to spend right now. So they're spent shrewdly. So I've got.
Yeah, I mean, they need to spend. They need to spend shrewdly. I mean, they spend. There is a myth that goes around that Tottenham don't spend money. Fifth biggest spenders in Premier League history. In the last, I think, 3.5, 4 years, they've only spent about £35 million less than Manchester United. They have a wage bill of £290 million a year, which is one of the biggest in Europe. They have an income which is the 8th biggest in the world, and they spend a large proportion of that. So they do spend a lot of money. They just don't spend it wisely. I agree with Big Ange. Top 4 shouldn't be their target. Their target should be to win the league. But what I find really interesting is that we've seen Arsenal criticised this year. We see Man United fans not wanting the Champions League because they don't think we can win it, which I find a really weird concept. Those same people say, well, Arsenal won't win it this year because you need to be in it for many years to build the experience. So therefore, this idea of celebrating getting in a top 4 position that people say you shouldn't celebrate, it becomes a bit of a paradox, doesn't it? You can't say you shouldn't celebrate getting in the Champions League, but equally state that you need to be regularly in the Champions League to build up the experience and the ability to be able to win it. Because if you don't get into it regularly, based on the logic those people have, you're never going to win the damn bloody thing. And I do think there's some truth to that. How many times have we seen in the last 30 years a team get into the Champions League once every decade and then go on to win it? I don't know if that's ever happened. I can't remember it happening personally, you know. And so for me, maybe there'll be maybe someone maybe like a Porto weren't in it too regularly before they won it in 2004. I'd have to go back and look. But again, that was a generation ago where not even 4 teams from every league were getting into the tournament. So it was a little bit of a different scenario there. But I look at Spurs. I don't think that he's a one-trick pony. I think that Big Ange has changed lots of elements of his team this year. We saw what he did against Chelsea when he went down to 9 men. He had his men on the halfway line. A few weeks later, Basuma was sent off against Luton, and he didn't have his team on the halfway line. He was sitting a lot deeper. So I do think he's changed things. Big Ange Postecoglou is suffering not with a problem with his system, in my humble opinion. He's suffering with a problem that the squad isn't good enough at Tottenham. It's a simple, and they're not good enough overall with mentality and ability. And what that will do is create inconsistency. But what you do notice with Big Ange and his team is that even though they got battered at the weekend, there is still a system, there is still a style of play. You can still see what he was trying to do in the game. And you can build from that. And I think there's a lot of other teams in the Premier League. My club's certainly one of them. We had a great day yesterday, which we'll come to later. But it was a great day because we actually played well for large parts, where we actually looked like we had a system and we knew what we were doing in and out of possession. Spurs look like that most games, whether they win, lose, or draw. What Daniel Levy needs to do is back this manager by spending money on the right players for this system. And if they do that, I don't know if you agree or not. I think you can definitely improve from this point.
Yeah, I agree. To answer Kaz, that's such a stupid statement. Spurs have found themselves in this big table where they don't belong. We finished in the top 6 consecutively for 11 seasons. So that's a pathetic statement. And he's come on here with chess because Man United finally won a game yesterday. Big deal. Everyone that's a reasonable Tottenham fan, we're further ahead this year than we thought we would be. And yeah, a massive part of it is our squad's not good enough. And I think it showed. I mean, there wasn't a single player that sort of basked himself in any sort of glory at the weekend. It was poor from pretty much everybody. But there are players that blatantly aren't good enough to play for this football club. But you've got to remember that in Klopp's first season, he finished 8th. In Arteta's first season, he finished 8th. In Ferguson's first season at Man United, he finished 11th. Do you know what I mean? These things take time. You can't have overnight success. You know, there are Tottenham fans that got carried away at the start of the season and thought, you know, maybe we could sort of win the league. Normal fans, and I'm going to call them normal because people that aren't deranged, thought that this was going to be a drop-off. We were never going to stay at the top of the league and we would sort of even out. I never thought we'd be fighting for a Champions League spot in our first season under Ange after losing Harry Kane, which a lot of people forget. He was our talisman, the greatest player to ever play for Spurs, some will say. Certainly the greatest goal scorer, some will say. And I think what he's done is amazing. And people can call it flange ball. They can call him Postecoglou. They can do what they like. And they might end up being right. But it's too early to say. We've got to give this guy time and wait and see what happens at not just the end of the season. We've got to see if Levy backs him in the summer because he needs to be backed. If he's not backed, he'll get sacked and we'll go back to the same circle. Arteta, they've stuck with him after finishing 8th in the first season and now look where they are. Everyone can see what they're doing. And any football fan, if they take off their biased hat, must be able to see that Ange has made positive changes to this club and we're moving in the right direction. And that is a good thing for me. And yes, there is going to be times we get battered because that's the system that Ange plays, and he is quite stubborn. But there's going to be times when we give batterings as well. So it is what it is. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. It's just one of them things.
Well, that happened over 2 weeks, didn't it? You gave a team a battering the week before.
A little child on the show. I think that's Dap's little un. I think that's Dap's his little un. But I recognise
more sense than Kaz, that's for sure.
Quality. I agree. Brand, what do you make of it with Tottenham? Because obviously there's always a bit of banter when a team loses. I wanted to ask you a question about the rest of their season. If they don't qualify for the Champions League from this point, do you think it will be an unsuccessful season overall for Spurs?
Ooh, I kind of do, only because I feel like the teams around them aren't as good as them, and I feel like they should be there. I don't think Villa is as good as Spurs. I think they have a better coach. That's why they are where they are. I don't think Man United are better than Spurs. Nowhere near. So it's a thing where if they don't get it, it's kind of a failure. You can look at it and be like, Postecoglou's first season in, you got to give him time. I understand that, but what's your name? Sorry, Spurs fan?
Kate. Yeah, Kate.
As Kate said, they're going to hand out washings and they're going to take some batterings as well. But when I hear that, it makes me think, are Spurs really actually going anywhere? Because it's like nothing's really changing. Spurs give out batterings and they take batterings now as it is. So
but under Conte, we didn't really take many batterings because we played in such a defensive way. But just mentioning Conte, sorry, I would just like to say everything he said about the club is true. When he made his little breakdown statement, when he said the mentality of the club's wrong and the players are selfish and the philosophy at Spurs is to finish top 4, everything he said is true. But there's a lot of people that don't like my way of thinking because they're staunch Levy outers and what have you. My view is I always want to give everybody another chance. That's just the sort of person I am. But if Levy doesn't back Ange this time, it's never going to happen, in my view. And yeah, we're going to be stuck with mediocrity for the rest of probably my bloody life.
Oh, bless you.
Spurs have actually got it quite nice over the next 3 games. They come back. They've got Luton at home.
Yeah,
that's a great opportunity to bounce back. They've then got West Ham away, which on paper could look tough, but West Ham have got Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League, and then they've got Forest at home. This is a great opportunity to put that game to bed and get 9 points on the board.
And it's not going to be easy.
It shouldn't be easy because you've got Fulham and I've got Luton and Forest, who are both fighting relegation. Forest had their 4-point deduction today,
and Luton is going to go
they're
for
going to
it.
be desperate for it.
Yeah,
and then with West Ham, they might be focusing more on the Leverkusen game. So for me, if Spurs don't pick up a minimum of 7 points, should pick up 9. I think we should be asking questions at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. And also, Villa didn't capitalise on the fact that we messed up and only got a draw against West Ham. So It could have been a whole lot worse.
I do think that's not. I do think that's not fair on Spurs, though. I think those 3 games that you just mentioned, I don't think they're as easy as you're making them out to be. To be honest, I think Luton have shown they've done it against Arsenal.
At home, Luton did that at home.
Yeah.
All the games that have been tough have been at home.
They're still getting better, bro. I'm showing
away from home.
Away from home, their record is bad. Their record is bad away from home.
But it's not like they're not giving teams a fight though. They're like the other day against Bournemouth. Or they were 3-0 up against Bournemouth away from home. Obviously, they lost 4-3, so it kind of.
I think eventually Luton right now they'll be gassed and gingered because of the 4 points deduction from Forest. They're like, look, we stand a chance right now with that deduction that Nottingham Forest got this morning to say, look, hey, if we just keep getting a draw and a win and a draw and a win, we stay in the league. We're not going to get relegated. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that is a drive that they're going to go with as well.
Do you know what I say, Brands? I don't think those games are easy for Spurs. But if you are going to make top 5 isn't a guarantee, top 4 is a Champions League football. And I do think Champions League football helps to progress you. It does give you more money. It does give you the ability. Certain players won't join you if there's no Champions League football, if you're going for them. At the same time, learning how to be in the Champions League is another string to your bow as a football club. So I think being in it is important. If Spurs, those games are going to be tough. But if Spurs are genuinely a team that see themselves as a Champions League side, you must be winning those games. And I think that's where you should be winning them. Isn't necessarily saying those teams are rubbish and it's going to be easy, but you have to persevere and find a way through those games. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. By the way, welcome, Michael. Michael's only late because I forgot to send the link. It's completely and utterly on me. Sorry, mate. I thought I'd sent it, and I obviously didn't. So I apologize.
Come back, KJ.
Yeah, okay. Listen, he's got another 2 weeks left on holiday, and I cannot wait for him to be back. I forget how much he does, but that's why I employed him, I suppose. But Villa dropped points again. It's 2 games now without a win. Does anybody see an outside chance, maybe Man United getting players back from injury, of them getting a place in the top 5 and sneaking in against all odds into a Champions League position?
No.
I
don't know why. Well, I don't know why Man United fans are so eager to get to the Champions League. You get embarrassed and get fucked out of it anyway by Galatasaray and them, man. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry about the Champions League. I just focus on, I don't know, just for your own good, stay away from the Champions League.
I don't United right now.
Why stay away from it?
Well, I mean, for a club like Liverpool, when we were under our rebuild and we got back in for the first time, we got to the final straight away. United just have always kind of been fairly mediocre in Champions League. They've only won 2 of them under Fergie. They've only won 3 ever. They've just never really been a good Champions League side. And especially in the banter era, you just waste your time in there, Galatasaray beat you guys. That team lost to Slavia Prague, the team that we bet 10-2 on aggregate or 11-2 on aggregate. So yeah, the Champions League isn't good for you guys.
But you barely won domestic trophies as Liverpool in the last 20 odd years. So why
30 years?
Why don't your club? You only won the Premier League once. Why don't you just exclude yourself and play cup competitions?
One Champions League is worth about 20 FA Cups. So
no, don't do that. Don't do that. Stop that.
Let me just. I want to say this. I'll let you get a minute. That's crazy. I wouldn't say that many, but
10.
I wouldn't even say 10. Maybe 3 or 4. But I think for me, I understand where you're coming from, but the one mistake you've made in your statement, Paddy, is that in the banter era of the last decade, Man United haven't been in a single rebuild once going into a Champions League. We haven't had a rebuild. We've had new managers and we've bought new players, but there has been no direct change behind the scenes to fix a club. And you're looking at Liverpool right now. You're about to lose Klopp. But what is your club doing to ensure that your structure is as strong as possible from a footballing standpoint when he leaves? You're bringing in the likes of Edwards and co. Yeah. Manchester United in the last decade, in all of these quote-unquote rebuilds, and I've had so many fights with Man United fans who kept on saying, sack this manager or sell him and we'll get better. And I've always turned around and said, we need to change fundamentally how we're run. This is going to be the first season that we have seen since Fergie where we have football people making footballing decisions. So I'm not suggesting for a single moment being in the Champions League means we're going to win it. We've got a long way to go. But I fundamentally believe we need to build up a stamina, if you like, of being able to be a Champions League team again. So missing out on it next year, year after, until we feel strong enough, is still going to set us back. Because then you go into it in 3 years' time when you're, quote unquote, a better team, and that squad, that team, that manager together have no experience of being in that competition. I don't think we'll win it if we're in it. But I'd still rather be in it in a genuine rebuild, which is what they tell us we're having, and build up our experience as opposed to sitting outside of it. I don't see us, by the way, if this rebuild, if they're doing what they say they're doing behind the scenes, and the time will tell, and if people don't think we are, then that's a different conversation. I would much rather be in it than out of it, because I don't care whether we win the FA Cup or not this year. I still think this manager's going. I think there's going to be big casualties in our squad next year, and I think there's going to be some real big overhaul and change this summer at my club. And if we can be in the Champions League, the money that brings us, the extra pool that brings you, plus the experience, I want it. And I think that it's a very, very small chance we get in it. But the idea that we should want to stay away from it because we've done a bad job in recent years, I think that's small-mindedness. That if any Man United fans thinks that, they're silly.
I know. I was joking. I've been sitting here stewing on yesterday's result, having to listen to everybody. I just blew a fuse. Obviously, you need to qualify would be good, but I just needed to kind of like fire back because I'm salty. I'm hurting right now. I'm going to be honest. I'm just salty. I'm salty.
Paddy, you're going to be hurting for a while now, because if you don't win the Premiership, which I doubt you are, all right, we'll see.
I think. Sorry, I was just going to say. I think it's a bit premature to say that Man United can't get into the top 5. They're only 6 points behind us. I think Villa are going to. I mean, I'm not saying Spurs ain't going to drop off because this is Spurs and anything could happen. But I do think Villa will start dropping off as well. We've got some real tough games, us and Villa. We've still got Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal to play. They have as well. They've got more those away from home than the ones we've got at home. So I don't think it's out of the question that Man United get up there in 5th spot. Not at all.
Villa have got a bit of a rough ride as well. I mean, like they've got to play City and Arsenal in the next 3-4 games, and they've also got to play Brentford, I think, who are knocking around, wanting to keep themselves safe. And Man United, when they come back, they got Sheffield United at home. So then when they that could be a great opportunity to get some of the goal difference back because. Yeah. Sheffield United have been there for the taking for many, many clubs. And Man United, I think they need a little bit of confidence. If they could go out there and pam them 4-5, 6-0 even, which isn't out of the question, that could be enough of a drive to get them into certain scenarios, And look at what they've done to Liverpool at the beginning of the season. They got bummed by Liverpool, let's be honest. But it finished 0-0. Beat Liverpool yesterday. And then they've got Liverpool again later on in the season in middle of April, I think it is. So, they're the sort of games. I think the thing that frustrates me about Man United is that they find a way of turning up against teams when they are expected to get beat. And then they'll lose games that they're expected to win. So the consistency level of Man United this season has been horrible. And I'd hate to be a Man United fan this season, but prior to the last season, I've had to deal with that at Arsenal for the last 6-7 seasons before that. So,
yeah, look, it's a long shot, and it's going to take a team or two to have a little bit of a collapse above us. I just think our next game back actually is Brentford away, which strangely, they could beat the game in hand is Sheffield United, but Brentford away. Listen, it's probably the best time in Premier League history to play Brentford. Not going to lie. It is. This is the worst they have been since they've been in the Premier League. So it's a game that I'm normally fearful going into, but I would still expect. And this is the thing for us: if we've got Højlund back, Lissandro's going to be back. As an example, we've actually got fullbacks back. I mean, that's the one thing I would say. The injuries are not going to make us an exponentially better team that can challenge for the Premier League, but getting our better players back will make us a better football team. It's just basics, and that could be a help to us. But it's going to be a very interesting run now. This top 4 race or this Champions League football race. I'm going to do some super chats here before we move on to the next section. This says, does this mean we Arsenal got 2 to 3 Champions Leagues because we've got 14 FA Cups?
There we go. There we go. There we go. That's what Terry. Yes. That's what I wanted to tell Paddy when he said, "Oh, 1 Champions League Cup is equal to 10 FA Cups." I was like, "Okay, well, since I have 14 FA Cups, I have it because if it's equal, then that's what it is." It's like there's no way in the world you can say that.
What's the treble? What's a treble worth then when you do that together? Because that means
that's 33. That's 33 trophies.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a treble is like winning 10 Premier Leagues. So we've got 11 more league titles than Liverpool. It's amazing.
Liverpool, exactly.
No, but on a real though, obviously it's not worth. But in terms of you can't the feeling of winning a Champions League is so much bigger than an FA Cup. Whether it's one trophy or not. Without being it actually is so much bigger and so much better.
Paddy, genuine question, Paddy. How old are you?
27.
27. Okay, I understand it. For me being 38, maybe it's because I'm English as well. I would prefer to win the Champions League over the FA Cup, but I still regard the FA Cup as an absolutely beautiful competition. But that was how I was brought up. My grandfather helped build the original Wembley. The everything to do with that, getting to that stadium to play a football match is just something that's huge. As a family, when it was FA Cup days, whether it was the first round, third round, we'd sort of get around the TV or we'd go to games and we'd sort of watch it. So for me, it's very, very special. But I do understand in the modern day era that the Champions League is pumped up so much by the TV networks because that's where all the money is, as an example. It'd be really funny if one day if Elon Musk sponsored the FA Cup and there was a prize of £200 million at the end of it, what club suddenly tell you it's the biggest competition in the world and we want to win it? That's what I would say. The money does drive what the TV companies tell you is the best to win to a degree.
It's like this, Terry. It's like this, Terry. Look, Paddy, it's like this. The FA Cup has been the FA Cup since it was invented as the FA Cup. It's not changed. The Champions League, Real Madrid has 13. How many are UCL and how many were before the UCL started? You need to understand that next year, if they change the pattern of the UCL and give it a new name because they have new sponsorship and new money, your UCL that you think you have 6 right now is no longer because the people look, Cup Winners' Cup, International Interfairs Cup, European. Hear me out. But the names have changed. So for those that had Cup Winners' Cup, right, even though they claim it as a Champions League, Dynamo Kiev won the Champions League in 1975 and 1986. Dynamo Kiev today is not anywhere on the map in Europe when it comes to football. They're still there in their country playing, but you have to look at it and say, well, the 1975, is that a UCL trophy? They still call it a UCL to them, but they call it what they wanted at the time. So if it changes,
Cup, wasn't it?
Cup Winners,
the European Cup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if it changes and you turn around and say, well, the UCL is the big. No, it's not, because the FA Cup has been the FA Cup and will be the FA Cup till it dies. That means everybody who has won the FA Cup is an FA Cup. Like that name stays. It's
you're spitting. Can I ask people a question here? Griggs, when was the last time you saw a FA Cup win trophy lift? What year? What year was it?
2016. 15. How are you?
Brands, when was the last time you lifted the FA Cup? Last year, right?
Last year.
Yeah. Matey below me. Sorry, I don't know your name.
Paddy.
Apologies. Was the last time you lifted the FA Cup?
2022.
Arsenal fans, Deo.
2019.
Kate?
2020.
Oh, this is really original.
My granddad, you know what? I don't like talking.
No, it wasn't 80s. It was early 90s. They won it.
It was 91. So get your facts right. If you're going to come with chess and try and banter me, at least get your facts right, love.
91. Oh, apologies, Kate. I wasn't born. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I can't.
By the way, that semi-final that year, you should watch it. Spurs versus Arsenal.
Best
goal ever. The greatest bit of commentary ever, where Gazza had a free kick and the commentator says, "Is Gazza going to have a strike?" And he eats it, the commentator says he is, and it flies in. And I remember that day so much because seatbelts had just become law, and my dad's car didn't have seatbelts, and he wanted to drive us out to get food after the games. He's a Spurs fan. We all had to lie down on the back seat so we didn't get pulled over by the police. I remember that. Do you remember that day, bro? 91. My brother just came in. He's older. He remembers. We went Burger King, didn't we? We went Burger King. We did in Walthamstow.
Terry, do you remember what Gazza said after the game? Gazza said he laughed and he said, "I can't believe that the keeper even tried to save it."
Oh, it was a great free kick. It really was. But now listen, the Champions League is definitely worth more than the FA Cup. But I'm not a fan of how the FA Cup gets played down. And this is a really beautiful segue, really, into yesterday's game.
Oh, fuck's sake!
Paddy!
You brought it up, Paddy. I've seen a lot of Liverpool fans try and play it down. Less fixtures. Thank God it wasn't in the league. We'll be okay. It doesn't matter. Of course it matters. One of your greatest players in your club's history, current player, Scouser, Trent said, we're here trying to win the Jurgen quad. It was a massive game yesterday. It was a beautiful game as well. And I think both teams played their part in that. I think we created a legendary piece of football, which in 100 years' time will be played. When you watch those round 3 montages that come on when it comes on, when it comes to the draw and they play beautiful moments, that game and some of the goals and the moments from that game are going to be played on for generations and generations. And I want to go to Michael first on this, as he just joined us. How are you feeling now, sort of 24 hours later, after Man United's epic win?
I've calmed down a little bit. I lost my voice yesterday. I fell out of my chair about 3 times after the goals because they were just they came out of nowhere. Beating Liverpool is always nice. That's obviously always the most important game of the year. They're our biggest rivals. Beating them at home is always nice. We had the 100-year FA Cup record that got brought up on Saturday. We're all like, Ten Hag can't wait to break another record. He didn't break it. It also feels good to see the way that we won it, who contributed to how we won it. Obviously, Ahmad, who most United fans have been asking for to play for the longest of times. The win, the celebration, doing the Messi celebration, taking the jersey off, getting the red card, walking down the tunnel, getting applauded by the fans. That's the only way you'll ever get applauded, going down the tunnel, getting a red card, is if you score a winner or if you do like a last-minute foul to win you the game. I think Ole did that like 20, 30 years ago. I remember they brought that up. So it was just amazing. Kobe Mainoo, I've been one of Mainoo's biggest, backers from like July when I saw him in preseason live in America when he came here. The way I saw him dominate Arsenal midfield on that pitch in preseason, even though it was just preseason, I knew we had a special player. And yesterday, for 80 minutes, for me, he looked like the best player on the pitch against one of the best teams in world football, and he looked like he absolutely deserved to be on there. Yes, we technically did look better after he came off because we started scoring the goals, but for 80 minutes, he kept us in that game with his defensive awareness, and then on the ball, the way he dribbled past Liverpool the whole game. Who got sent to shop? Endo got sent to the floor. The right back got sent to the floor. Joe Gomez, everyone got sent to the floor, and that same midfield was struggling. That same midfield dominated Man City's midfield last week. And Kobe Mainoo yesterday dominated them. And Marcus Rashford, we were talking about big players. Like that miss, I know it was technically offside, but he didn't know it was offside. That miss, to miss that at the end of the end of the 90 minutes. After that, you have to score in extra time, right? You have to make up for it. And he was able to make up for it. And that's what a big player does. Big moments make big players, and that's what he did. And it just feels good. And now it's just we have commentary next, which is always good to have. That was a good draw. And then we're probably going to set up a rematch of last year's FA Cup final. And this time, David De Gea is not in goal. So this time, I actually have a chance to maybe potentially stop another Manchester City treble. And also that, it gives us momentum going because we play Liverpool in 3 weeks' time. It gives us momentum. We've beaten them this year at Old Trafford. We didn't lose to them at Anfield. So now, part 3 of the year, it gives us momentum going to that game. And we already win their quad hopes. So they're technically selling for a treble. So let's ruin those hopes as well and make sure that they just end up the season with, at best, a Carabao Cup and a Europa League, because we don't have a say in the Europa League for them, but we could ruin their Premier League chances and end that for them. So that's my goal now.
Great what you said. I want to speak about Kobe Mainoo for a moment because Ahmad obviously stole the headlines with his extra time performance, his interceptions, his play, his goal, and everything else. But I want to go to Paddy with this, and I know you're obviously salty and bitter from yesterday, and I understand it, but what's your impressions of that young man, 18 years of age, made 20 appearances in a broken system in many ways, playing the way he did against a team like Liverpool that were on yesterday to win a quad this year?
Listen, yeah, Kobe Mainoo was absolutely phenomenal. A genuine world-class talent. I know if we had him at Liverpool, we'd all be raving about him and saying he's a world beater, and United are lucky to have him. United have a lot of really good youngsters in there that I like a lot. I like Garnacho. I like Hoyland. I think he's have a real good nucleus of youngsters to build on in the future. And Mainoo is going to be key to that. He was absolutely superb yesterday. He was everywhere. He was really, really good. And yeah. And for the thing about United, like over the years and since the post-Fergie years, you've struggled with these mercenaries who are there for the money, don't actually care about the club, or there to collect the paycheck. But it's good that you have a young Manchester boy now coming in who actually wants to play for the club, loves the club, and you can see that in his performances, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I thought he was phenomenal, and you're lucky to have him big time.
I love Kobe. I'm actually gutted that he's not part of the England side. And this is a great opportunity to have him in the England team because the last squad that is going to get picked before the Euros, and it would have been great to have him around the team, around the setup, see what's going on. Not even, you don't necessarily have to get on, even if you are good, maybe even just a couple of throwaway minutes, but just to get a feel of what this guy is about, because I think he's the future, man. Honestly, I wish he was at Arsenal, and take out number 5 and put him in that position. Have Kobe, Rice, Odegaard in that midfield 3. Boy, no one's getting through us, man. Honestly, I think it's an absolute machine. It's just so smooth as well. Like he literally plays football like he's 30 years old and he's won it all already. And he just plays with a cigar and. Brilliant player.
Is anyone? I don't know about you, Terry, but I'm kind of happy he's not a part of this England setup, and I'm glad he's not going to the Euros either. Because guess what? You know why? It's great to be around a setup and everything, but he is 18 years of age. He doesn't need to be there because guess what? He's not going to play him, and he's just going to pick Henderson anyways. And if he's not going to pick Henderson, he'll go pick up one of his other guys that he loves so much. Somehow, some way, Mason Mount probably gets into the Euro squad because he likes him. It's just the way it works. Southgate's a bum. Doesn't matter what the system is. I'm hoping that he leaves Southgate at the end of the season.
That could be your future manager. Have some respect for his name.
Tell him again, Kate. Tell him again, Kate.
And guess what, Kate? Even if Southgate was to become Man United manager, he'll still win a trophy before you do. How about that?
Ooh, don't carry on stuff in your face. Wow. You're quiet.
Wow. Anyways, know your role on the table, please. You're on the high chair, but on the other side.
Who's above who in the league? Oh, yeah, hang on a minute. Yeah, I remember.
Last time I checked, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's just you're going to bottle it in bottle fashion. Everyone knows this. So it's right. Anyways, moving on. Cobby just looks polished. There's nothing more that you can really say about this guy. The fact that he looks better than all Man United's midfielders, the fact he looks like he's about, 28 years of age, says a lot. You know, when a player is so good at a young age where you don't really need to even mention their age too much, you just know they're serious. It's like Bradley. Like, look at Conor Bradley. I don't even remember. Sometimes I forget that the guy's about, 19 years of age or something like that. And he looks like he's been wicked for a couple of seasons. It's a bit when, like, John Flanagan came through and you're like, wait, who's this kid? And then,
I thought he was going to go places.
Yeah,
Flanagan. See, Flanagan was good, but when I look at Conor Bradley, there's a difference. What you said about Mainoo, there's a difference. When I was a kid watching football, my dad always used to say to me, if a player looks like he has all the time in the world, he's class. Just take that as read. If he looks like it's easy, and there's the amount of times Mainoo has the ball and I go, oh, no, come in. And then he just drops a little shoulder and moves and he looks relaxed. It's because he knows what he's doing. And we don't have enough of that at Man United. And he has such a great mentality. I disagree slightly, Kaz. I do wish he was part of the England setup. I do agree with you that the system at England doesn't get the best out of players like him. When you think we've got players like Foden and Saka and Bellingham, there's no way we're going to play like Man City and Arsenal and Real Madrid, and that will impact those players. And I think now maybe some fans of other clubs will understand as a Man United fan, when we had the likes of Scholes and Rooney in the team, and everybody used to say, why doesn't Scholes and Rooney do for us what they do for Man United? Man United's football was light years ahead under Fergie compared to what England played for 2 decades. So, of course, they didn't look the same. But he should be in that England squad. There, in my humble opinion, Declan Rice is our best midfield player. There's no doubt overall. But there isn't an English midfielder in that squad that does what Mainoo does. That ability to control the tempo of play, sit that bit deeper, absorb that pressure. He's got a vibe of Clarence Seedorf. He's got elements of Paul Scholes in his game as well. And he's got a lot of work to do to get anywhere near the level of those two absolute giants of the game. I'm just talking about what he reminds me of in the way he plays. And watching him yesterday was just sensational. And I hope in the summer, one of the positions we feel is that DM role, because I do still think his best position is an 8, can help out defensively. But McTominay, he had that shot, it was saved by Kelleher. If that goal goes in, that skill from him on that left-hand side, Rashford showing some intelligence and passing the ball, that would have been one of the best FA Cup goals I've seen in a long time from Man United. And the backdrop of the game, who it was against, just demonstrates the sheer quality and ceiling of this young man. I was so impressed with him yesterday. And yeah, I'm just glad he's a United player. And I'm glad he's English as well, because at some point we'll see him play for our country.
I had a question about him real quick, because I've been having this debate for like the last 24 hours. Since Cesc Fabregas, right, when he came onto the scene at like 16, 17, he was amazing. How many better midfielders have there been in the Premier League at Mainoo's age that have come through, other than like a Jack Wilshere, because he was obviously class when he came through?
Or Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah, Cesc is the boss.
Who are you saying, Brands?
So since Cesc go through, Cesc is like
sorry, Michael, 1 sec. Sorry, what are you saying, Brands?
I'm saying Foden.
I don't look at Foden as a central midfielder, though. I see him as more of an attacking midfielder or forward, but he's brilliant.
You can do both. You can do all of them.
Okay, Foden. I mean, yes, that's Fabregas and Wilshere stand out.
Aaron Ramsey, maybe. No, when he was young, he was a baller. Like, he was different.
I think Mainoo's better.
I know, but based on your question, Michael, that just simply tells you that this kind of thing doesn't happen regularly, which is why we're calling it out. Which is why we're saying that if you take a look at what Mainoo is doing at his age, it happens once every, that players like this come out and you can tell that they're going to be successful, because you've had players like that who have come out brilliant. They're like, oh, brilliant. And then 2 years down the line, boop, gone.
It doesn't even last that long. What will happen? You'll see one of the kids come out, make their debut, and you go, "Oh, this guy is the truth," and he plays literally like 2 or 3 games.
You sound like a Liverpool.
Look at Reece Oxford. Remember Reece Oxford for West Ham? And everyone's like, "Oh my god, he is the truth. He's the next big thing." And then all of a sudden, he's out playing for Augsburg at the bottom end of the Bundesliga at centre half, and looking dead. Do you know what I mean?
It's night and day.
Attitude is key, and I don't know much about Reece Oxford, and the amount of times you see these youngsters that we all think are super talented and then they don't make it, it's not until 5-10 years later all the stories come out. about behaviour, what they did in training, what they did off the field, their behaviour, attitude. I'm not going to name the player because it'd be disrespectful. There was a really young English talent about 20 years ago. I was 18, 19 years of age, and a good friend of mine where I grew up, his cousin played football with him at academy level, and we went to this club one night where they were, and he just got his new deal at the club he was at, and he had these diamond rings on. Now, I don't do jealousy. I was like, fair play to you, well done. And we were in this VIP area, and his girl sitting there, and this girl said her drink was cold. And he took off 2 of the diamond rings and put them in a drink and went, have some ice, and gave it to her and left it. And I remember looking at it, and my personal feeling at 18, 19 was, you're going to foul, bruv. Like, I just didn't see that as the right way to behave. I just didn't look at it as someone that was focused on football. He also said he had training in the morning, and it was 2:30 in the morning, and he's out doing stuff like that. And, he had a decent career, but he never got to the levels that were expected of him at that point. And I think to myself, with Mainoo, he's got all the talent in the world. I just hope and pray that behind the scenes, off the field, he is level-headed. I hope his mum and his dad and his family are wrapped around him to stop him going down the wrong paths, and they ensure the wrong people don't get around. And we know when a player starts doing this, you get a lot of tag-alongs, a lot of hang-alongs, people that want to come around you and ruin you. And yeah, I just hope for this young man, because he's just got talent for days.
He came out in an interview and said what he likes, and I'm like, he said he doesn't go out or anything like that. He likes to stay indoors with his family, and he's quite chilled. He's not really a proper socials type person. He just loves football. That's all he said.
Someone here said, was it Ashley Cole that was out with? No, Ashley Cole had a brilliant career. I'm talking about someone that was good. Like, to say, of course, it wasn't Ashley Cole. Like, come on now. Sorry,
do you think that, because most of the time, when a player comes out, and it's normally a case of, this player is going to be the next whoever. Do you reckon he's so grounded because he's not been dubbed as the next X person? He's just Kobe Mainoo, comes from lives in Manchester, come through the academy and just able to do his thing.
Well, there wasn't
maybe he's grounded because he's just grounded. Like, you have to realize certain kids and their background, just looking at him and the way he carries himself, it's like Bukayo Saka. Like, you look at Saka and you know that there's an upbringing at the background. Like, Well,
once again, Saka's not come through as you're the next young.
Oh no!
Saka's come through and he's done his thing.
What I'm saying is,
everyone else who comes through has to be the next person, and the pressure goes on.
Let me finish.
Go on, finish, and then
I was just going to say that even if pressure or no pressure, even if they want to dub you, I'm saying, like, the character, you can tell from the character building, like looking at the person, that this person is so grounded that even if the world dubs them the next best thing, they're going to stay on track. They have plans for their lives. Like, I'm sure Mainoo is saying, by the time I'm 20, I want to be like this player. When I'm 22, I want to, like, he's setting goals for himself. So regardless of how you label him, hoping that he blows up next month, he's not going to chase your goals. He's chasing his goals. And you can see that. You can see that in those players.
Yeah.
Like, you can.
I do agree with that.
Attitude.
When it comes to history of Man United, if you go and watch, and most of you wouldn't have watched this, why would you? The Class of '92 documentary that came out. In that, they interviewed a number of the players from the that were part of the same academy that never made it. And there was 2 or 3 other names in that group who were the stars of the academy that were tipped to be the Man United first team players, not a lot of the actual Class of '92. And they all speak now with hindsight and say, while we were off going down the Arndale Centre with our little bit of money, showing off, saying we're the next new kids on the block in Manchester, it was the Paul Scholes and Gary Nevilles and David Beckhams that stayed behind every day and did extra training and pushed themselves. And I think that there is where probably helps. They weren't the star names in all the local newspapers being pushed out as the next big thing. So I do think that has an impact in some ways. On the game itself yesterday, we'll get onto Ahmad in a little bit. Paddy, there was a question asked of Jurgen Klopp, which led to a bit of a meltdown from him, really, about why was there a lack of intensity? Why did Liverpool kind of, from the 80th minute or so, kind of fall off a little bit? Did you see it that way? And if so, why do you think United took over from that point when you were so dominant for large parts of that second half?
Listen, but I think we've been in all 4 competitions. We went all the way with the Carabao Cup. We're still in the Europa League. We're challenging right at the top. We obviously have played more games. We've been stretched a lot more. So we just played a lot of minutes. And I think it got to a stage where some of the guys were gassed. But I also think the atmosphere of Old Trafford and kind of the occasion kind of took over and spurred United on. I thought we were like the better team. I feel, listen, I'm not being salty, but I do think it's a matter of Liverpool lost as much as United won, if you know what I mean. Like we let United win. Like we bottled it. We absolutely bottled it 100%. We were 5-on-1 or 6-on-1 with in the 88th minute with when we're 2-1 up, and or what was it, 3? I don't know what it was. You know, we needed one more goal, but yeah, we fucking bottled it, man. I won't lie. Annoying to lose, but I'll be honest. I was sitting there watching the game with my friend Jonathan, who also does TikTok, and he was watching. He was like, "Oh my!" He was cursing them. He was going crazy. I was just there going, "I want to win, but I'm not like it's not the be all or end all. The FA Cup is good to win, but I'll be much more aggressive and angry and antsy during the Premier League game in a couple of weeks' time. That's the one I want to win. And if it's a case of we had to win one or the other, I'd be so much happier we won the league game rather than this game. That's being truthful.
I have to disagree, man.
I disagree with that as well. I disagree with that. That is nonsense.
I just feel Liverpool lost because they were arrogant fans, because I think it all comes from the fan, and I think fans were arrogant. Everyone thought that Man United was going to get wiped the floor off of. Actually, to be fair, there's an element that there could be some tired legs, but I think Klopp's rotated well. We've been talking about how well Klopp been rotating kids and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. I think Man United won because we wanted it more simple as that. And we were just better on the day. I think Klopp got it wrong. He tried to play some possession-type football passively in, the 50th minute to the 77th, 80th. Didn't work. It was like, all right, you can keep the ball, we can chase you. We get a bit leggy, but what are you really doing in the moments? He didn't really draw us out. It was like, okay, we just do what we do best. We'll wait for our moment, which we did. And when he made the subs, I just feel like we're just better on the day. They were arrogant. You're going to get sore losers, personally. And it's just the occasion. And I think atmosphere, Paddy's right. Atmosphere it always makes a difference. We always talk about Anfield and atmosphere, what it can do. How many times have we seen Liverpool go down in the first half sometimes just to go batter the team 3-1 in the end because Anfield decides it wants to have a voice? It's the same thing anyway. People need to realize you can never call much on a derby because it's about who wants it more all the time. Tactics are in the bin. I think that was showed yesterday when Ten Hag decided to throw the kitchen sink, and you're like, wait, what are we doing here? Like, I'm seeing Anthony at left back. So yeah, man, I think that might be the bit of the case. I don't know if you agree, Max, but
I think
I think Brands was going to say something.
Yeah, Brands. Yeah, so I'll come to you and say, Brands, you said you disagree with what Paddy said.
Yeah, no, I disagree because what do you call it? He said he'd much rather win the game in the league. I understand that, but in my personal opinion, Liverpool aren't guaranteed the league. I think if they had won that game, let's say you were to just swap United for Liverpool would have got Coventry, Liverpool would have been in the final. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You're then closer to winning something at least, because Liverpool could actually end the season with nothing. I don't think they will, but Liverpool would actually end this season with nothing. Yeah.
Apart from the Carabao Cup, because 2 weeks ago.
Oh, come on, man. No one cares about that.
Well, the FA Cup's worth 10 Carabao Cups, isn't it? Wink,
yeah. Wink. You can't just say nothing like we've won the only trophy on it. You know what I mean?
I forgot you even won that. I'm trying to say I forgot you even won that. I'm trying to say
you can't just say we're not going to get in the season with nothing. We've literally won the first trophy.
Let me ask you this. If Klopp was to leave this year with a Carabao Cup only, would you be happy? Yes or no?
Just the Carabao Cup.
Just the Carabao Cup. Because I'm saying you're not guaranteed anything else.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
However, if we ended the season with just the Carabao and the FA Cup, I would also be absolutely fuming. This is what I'm saying. In 2022, the year we were chasing the quad, we were in everything right. We played every single game possible, and we ended up with just the 2 cups, and it was demoralizing as fuck. I just feel like no team has ever won the quad for a reason. This year wouldn't have been the quad because we're not in the Champions League, of course, but I think this will help our league campaign. And you say we're not guaranteed to win the league. I know that. But if we want to win the league, we have to win every game. And if we go to Old Trafford in a couple of weeks' time and win, everything will be forgotten about this game for Liverpool fans, in my opinion.
You're right there.
I think Klopp made a mistake not rotating, not playing too many of your good players in Europe, in my opinion. That was a big mistake. I think Liverpool were arrogant. I agree. I think they thought they could just turn out and win. And Paddy, I've got to say, I don't like the arrogance coming out of your mouth. You sound really arrogant the way you're talking. You sound so entitled. Yeah, all this, if Klopp's legacy ends and we just won a Carabao Cup and an FA Cup, I'll be fuming. That's
Obviously.
so entitled.
I like it.
You're a Spurs fan just desperate for silverware.
Yeah, do you know what, Gav? That's so true. That's so true.
It's true though. Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
I'm not being funny, Gav.
But that just doesn't tickle the mustard of a proper big club fan.
Gav, I'm not a big club fan. Turn it in, son. Gav, listen to me. You're the same as me. You give your right arm for an FA Cup right now.
No, I'll give my right arm for an FA Cup. We won it a couple of years ago.
If you're saying that, you're lying.
I'll give my left arm. I'll give my left arm for a Premier League trophy right now because I need my right arm.
You would
give
your left arm.
I would give my right arm. I would give my left arm for a Premier League trophy. I wouldn't give it my right arm because I need it for darts. But I'll give it my right arm to win the Champions League this year. Straight up, I'll never play darts ever again.
I'm going to say, listen, I'm calling Liverpool fans out on their copium, right? And I'll give you an example. When Man United, I've seen the TikTok videos of you, Paddy, me old mate. When Man United won the Carabao Cup, lots of Liverpool fans went online and say, why celebrate? Why have the players brought out their flags? Why are they dancing on the pitch? Oh my God, this is embarrassing. Just for the season before that and this season to do exactly the same things. And they partied until the night was long, and they have absolutely every single right to. Liverpool fans are gutted that they're out. Of course, if you said to them now, you can win the FA Cup or the Premier League, you're going to pick the Premier League because it is a bigger competition. But they were all talking about the Klopp farewell party. Imagine we win some type of quad. Imagine we win everything. Imagine we end. Liverpool fans yesterday wanted to end Man United's season 110%. And the same Liverpool fans I've seen tweet things like less games in the calendar. Thank God it wasn't in the league. 40 minutes before that, we're saying, ha, 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 another trip to Wembley. We're doing this. We've ended your season. So you cared when you were 2-1 up. You cared when you were 3-2 up. But suddenly it's just the FA Cup. Don't really care about it when it's 4-3. I'm calling cap on that. It doesn't mean, Paddy's right, that you throw baby out with the bathwater. Let's sack Klopp now. Let's get a new manager in before the end of the season. Nothing crazy like that. But it hurts to go out of these tournaments. And what I've seen from Liverpool fans is what they called Arsenal out for last year. We've got bigger fish to fry. We can focus else. And Arsenal fans got cooked for that last year because it's wrong. And I think you should be cooked for that, whether you win lots of trophies or no trophies. You should be always trying to win them when you have an opportunity to. And everyone's now saying, and they also expose themselves, Liverpool fans, with this make-believe rivalry they have with City. I'm not saying you personally, Paddy, but overall, whether it be a man like James Redmond, big up to yourself, but you did it. I see plenty of tweets with Jamie Carragher did it. He got his bum right out on his skiing trip. But it's okay. Man City will stop you. We'll be cheering for Man City. So the team that you believe you've got the biggest rivalry in Premier League history with, you're going to be cheering to win another trophy to pull further clear of you in that race. It just proves that rivalry is either a myth or you're just coping right now and trying to pretend that you're not hurt. It's one of the two things. They both can't exist at the same time. And I just think Liverpool fans are playing this down because they thought they were going to win. They thought they would batter us when they were leading 2-1, when they were leading 3-2. They had the bunting out. They were singing "We Are Going to Wembley," and then against all odds, Man United came back, outperformed them, and beat them. And that's why Jurgen Klopp is out there calling journalists fat. That's why Jurgen Klopp is stealing their microphones and walking. And what he did yesterday, by the way, Jurgen Klopp.
By the way, there was clarification. There was clarification.
I know he wasn't actually calling him fat, but he definitely took his microphone. What he did was ridiculous. They were absolute on-the-point questions. Normally, because everybody turned around to Jurgen Klopp when those kids came on in the Carabao Cup final, and they maintained the intensity, they maintained the system, and they went, wow. Didn't they do well? And Klopp basically said, I'm paraphrasing slightly, yeah, that's our system, that's our club, this is Liverpool. When he's then asked the question, why do you think the intensity wasn't there today? He starts saying that's a dumb question. Calling him dumb for asking a proper question, that for me is the embodiment of how bitter and upset Liverpool fans are, generally speaking, with being dunked on, not just by Man United, but by an absolute flop in the fidget spinner that is Anthony, Rashford that everybody calls rubbish, and then Ahmad that's barely kicked the ball all year. So for me, I'm calling cap on this. We don't care that we're out. The actions don't echo the thought.
going back to what you're saying about, listen, would I have loved to have won? Absolutely. Would it have been nice to win? Yes. The fact of the matter is we didn't win. But this bigger fish to fry that people like to laugh about, whether you want to or not, it is a fact. We do have bigger fish to fry. The Premier League is we've only won one of them with Klopp, and we've lost out on 2 others by a singular point. We've had so much heartbreak in that competition. So that is a bigger fish to fry. And also for me, as an Irishman, the Europa League final is in Dublin. I will be there. We will be there. That us going out yesterday now means officially this is going to be Klopp's last ever game as Liverpool manager if we get there, which would be the Europa League in Dublin. So we do have bigger fish to fry. 2 bigger ones to be exact. Would have been nice to win? Yes. This is all United have. This was their cup final. This was their season. Fair play to you. You've won it. You've won the Eurovision, the World Cup, whatever. Fair play. You have nothing else. We do. So grand we lost, but you can't win them all.
Oh, no, that's true. Because imagine this. This is perfect scenario. Arsenal go and win the league, which I want that to happen, right? And then Xabi Alonso, your future manager, potentially beating Klopp in a final. Can you imagine? Just for Man United to go on to win the FA Cup because we beat you and surged onto a final to beat whoever it may be. Can you imagine how Klopp would feel?
Randomly in the Netherlands, something similar happened.
Fist pumping sore loser. That's what he is.
I understand the bigger fist to fry thing. I understand the logic of it. The problem that you have is it just the old adage, the sort of saying comes out in my mind: a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. And if you don't win the league, if you don't win, and it's interesting again now, suddenly the Europa League is now bigger than the FA Cup, where when Man United won it, I was told it was a tin pot trophy that was worth nothing. And I don't disagree with you. I think the Europa League is a very credible tournament to win. But it's interesting how it's sort of people pick and choose when winning a certain trophy is worthwhile or not.
In fairness,
go on, mate.
The context around the Europa League is totally different this season for me, especially as an Irishman. The final being in Dublin immediately elevates it above anything else. That's so big. So that's what you usually if the final was in fucking I don't know Birmingham, I don't fucking know. I wouldn't give a fuck. It wouldn't be as big, but it's in Dublin.
I understand that, and I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking in general because I remember when Man United were in the final, we ended up losing it. I remember most rivals saying, "How can you even celebrate being in that final? You're in a competition that you're in because you fouled in the league the year before." And now suddenly it's like, oh, it's bigger than the FA Cup. I just love the sort of chopping and changing. Sorry, Kate, I interrupted what you were going to say.
I was going to say I'm in a horrible position. I could just cry because I really wanted Liverpool to win the league, but Paddy's put me off now with his arrogance. And then you've got City to win the league, and they're cheats potentially. And then we've got our arch rivals Arsenal, and I just don't know which way to turn. I think I might just
So you don't know which way to turn, so that means you potentially might want Arsenal to win the league then.
I definitely just want that. I need to ask Kate a question because 100% I know Kate does not want Arsenal to win the league. Period. But here's the situation. All right, the coefficient points are in the balance. Okay, Arsenal are in the Champions League final, and you are in 5th place, and you need Arsenal to win the Champions League in order for England to get the 5th Champions League spot. What do you want happening?
I'd rather go Europa League personally if that was me.
Yeah, I would too.
We didn't get there. We didn't deserve it. If we didn't get top 4, because we didn't deserve to get top 4 in Champions League. I don't know about what everyone else feels like. Kate and obviously Mike is obviously rest of you lot obviously qualifying. But I'd rather.
You know what? I get where you're coming from, Kaz. But let's say it's United in that position. Let's just say next year. Look at Liverpool this season. Look how good they are. Liverpool could win the Champions League this campaign if they were in it. Imagine we do get a new manager that gets us playing brilliantly next year. A lot of the bad eggs are thrown out, and we've got a really good team next year. Not good enough to win the league, but a really good team that's in the Europa League and is killing it. You'd probably, it's hindsight, of course, but you may sit there and go, oh, God, I wish we'd have got that 5th pot space now. That's the way I view it. I get that Arsenal get a by the way, I'd rather Arsenal win the Champions League than City. I'd rather Arsenal win it than any other team. I'd rather Ati win it because I want a team that's not won it to win it because City would be one behind us. The likes of Real Madrid and everybody else could pull further away further. Again, all I ever care about is who has the most trophies in any one competition. Because what I want is Man United to have the most out of everybody. So that's my sort of take on it. I've got a few super chats to do here. First one says, what's up with all this United hype? Didn't United finish over Liverpool and Klopp was finished? No one had Liverpool for where we are. Quad run, arrival stuff. Well, it isn't arrival stuff when Trent Alexander-Arnold says it. Liverpool actually know what it takes to get even closer. I mean, there's no Man United hype. We're praising a really good performance yesterday and a really good win yesterday. No one's sitting here and saying Man United are back, my friend. But of course, after winning one of the greatest FA Cup games of all time, there's going to be a big conversation about it. Of course, there is. Paddy seems hungover. If Liverpool win against United but lose the Premier League, nobody cares. You won. Klopp has just won FA Cup. All Liverpool fans should care 100%.
Yeah, well, yesterday was obviously St. Patrick's Day, so yeah, I am extremely hungover.
I love that.
And like Paddy.
Big up, Terry. We're off to Wembley. Respect and knocking Liverpool out. Ha ha ha. Thank you, Ray. Yes, we are off to Wembley. Hopefully twice now this season. Mainoo plays like Fabregas at the same age. Some players are just different. He certainly is. He is different. He's just
Fabregas is better at 18. I can't lie.
Jim here says, don't try to cook Kate. I promise you'll lose. That's Kate's husband, by the way. So everyone knows. If you ever meet Jim, he's got this big red mark on his head where he lives under Kate's thumb. Do you know what I mean? So he knows. He knows.
It's not to be a fine thing.
Yeah. Nah, Kate likes a real man. Proper man.
Yeah, real man.
He looks like Phil Mitchell. Do you know what I mean?
Does he have to say son? Does he have to say son at the end of sentences as well?
Hello, son. Hello, son.
Yeah, he does actually.
He's a coffee boy. I love it. Do you all realise that Man City could make another treble? And if that happens, then it is curtains for all the top 6 teams, as they will never be matched. I wanted to
we become the third biggest club in the country if we do that.
The third big, yeah, I agree. I do agree. If City do back-to-back trebles, you become the third biggest team in England, in my view. And this City team, I'm going to throw it out there. If they do back-to-back trebles, there is an argument to say they're the greatest team of all time ever in European football. To do back-to-back trebles, I don't know how that can be argued against.
The only reason I say no is because like the level of player itself is nowhere near the greatest ever.
But you have to name it on achievement, though, right?
City are probably the 115th best team.
So you think that if City, are you still, Paddy, are you one of those people that's you're not really going to give City any real credit until they're cleared of these charges?
Absolutely. And they should not get credit. And their success should never be mentioned without the context of the charges.
Yeah, they still got to do it on the pitch, though, boy. Come on, man.
The football has nothing to do with the charges.
You know, how about this, though? You know, they say innocent until proven guilty, right? You can credit now, and then if not, then you can discredit afterwards. No?
I prefer the opposite way. I mean, like, there's not. I prefer like if anyone thinks City operates in a normal way, I mean, fair play to your naivety, but yeah, no, City are.
I never said that. I don't think anybody in the panel actually said that. But like, we're talking about what happens on that field of play for 90 minutes.
Let me throw this question at you though. Both you and Brian said something similar about that. You still got to win the game. Just off the field is. But what if you wouldn't have? The charges are basically saying that without financially doping, you wouldn't have this team to play that football. So therefore, it's like if you.
You know, it's not. I don't like it. I don't agree with that. We've got the best. We've got one of the best coaches ever. That makes no sense. If we didn't get one player for that much, we would have just got a different player for a different price for cheaper, bro. He would have made it work.
Why did Klopp sell Joe Hart? Why did Jurgen Klopp get rid of Bravo? Why did Jurgen Klopp get rid of players that have flopped and not met the standards and bought better in if he could just coach anybody into being what you are now?
Joe Hart was like, how old was Joe Hart when he
Pep, sorry, not Klopp.
Yeah.
Like, why did he sell
Bravo is actually rubbish. Like, you have to. One thing about the City system is, I believe anyone can get coached to be part of it. But then there's that, and then there's the next level, which is doing more than what this is. If you're up here, so like, we could have got anyone to play. Remember when Morris was here, yeah, and we could have got anyone to play that position. But Morris is so good that he takes that to the next level. Do you understand? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
But that's exactly the point. You guys have a wage bill of £490 million a year, the biggest in the Premier League.
That's what happens when you're the best.
The agent fees.
Please let me finish. You have a wage bill of 190 million. The point is, the accusations basically state that you would not be able to afford that wage bill to keep this squad that pushes your system above that level without financially doping. So if you couldn't afford the Mahrezes that go to that next level without financially doping, you would never have created the team that you had. That is what the accusations are charged. So
I don't believe
I agree. I agree. Well, it's not about not believing it. It's a fact. The point is the charges, and I'm not saying you're guilty like Paddy is. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm stating that if you didn't have the money to build the squad, to buy the Mahrezes and the KDBs you're not telling me that anyone can do what Højlund does.
Do you know what's crazy? No. Do you know why? Because all of those, Mourinho said it himself. He said all of those players that we buy, they're all future investments, bro. They're all future investments.
Yes.
As you get better, you earn more money.
What if you? Let me ask you this question: what if you didn't have the money to buy them when you did? Without cheating, if that's true.
But then you have to go. Then you have to basically remove everything. Then we don't get Guardiola. We don't buy KDB. We don't do nothing. You're basically saying we have no money at all. Then.
But no one's saying got no money at all, and no one's saying you get rid of everything. But the point is, and we don't know the severity of it. So I think saying that if you're guilty, that had no bearing on what happens on the pitch is crazy. Because it depends on if it turns out that for 10 years your turnover should have been 250 million, but you were pumping 500 million into the club. You have built a whole infrastructure, team, and system based upon fraudulent activity. To say that hasn't benefited you on the pitch because you've got a better manager, better coaches, better scouts, better infrastructure, better players is a madness. It can't. That's crazy.
I mean, like, if you're gonna try and hide it, I mean, like, I think that what they tried to do is hide parts of it. Building money like into the training facility there. They've pumped a hell of a lot of money into the local area around the ground. Arsenal did the same thing in M5. I think they could have been a little bit better about it. But I'm a Palermo fan as well as the Arsenal, so I don't care what City do because hopefully that money comes to my club and we get back into Serie A. So
I get that.
From last year, those wages.
Sorry.
Well, those figures from last year, those wages.
Those figures are from Man City's Don't go on the website to tell you what people get paid on wages. Their websites are all wrong.
I mean, it's from their treble season. Is that the wages from their treble season?
It's from their last declared trading accounts up to 2023. So it's on their actual trading accounts what they're paying wages. And some people will say that includes all the staff. 500 odd people. Most of the staff are not employed by Man City. They're employed by the City Group, which is a different set of accounts. But even if you say all 500 members of normal staff are earning 75, let's say I did the maths on it the other day. Somebody said, it's all the staff. So if you take 500 members of staff and say they're all on £75,000 each a year, which by the way, most staff are not on that. They're on minimum wage at a lot of those jobs. That's still only when you, it's still only when you multiply that. I did the maths the other day. I'm going to do it again here. That will still only equate to like 37 million of the 490 million. The majority of that is on players. And this is why net spend is crazy. It's why the newspapers, when they tell you what people are earning, it's all bullshit. Because what you see is like the basic, which is their PAYE, which is their salary. What they don't show you because they have no idea about is the players' image rights, which are typically paid into limited companies that are owned by the players, which are almost the same as whatever their basic salary is. Then you have the agent fees. Then you have the bonuses for what they achieve. City's salary is somewhere in the region of £490 million a year.
I know that City.
We made that though. We made that type of money though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We won the Champions League last year. We talking about? We won the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA
Cup. Let me just say that was in the trading accounts before the Champions League win.
In the either way, we still made that money. We win trophies every time. We win trophies all the time, though.
They got. I know they
made profits in windows and that. So.
And City also are very good at selling youth players, a bit like Chelsea. You know, a lot of these players that you know we never heard of really.
That does bring in quite a lot of money. But again, City's biggest outgoing is their salaries. It's around about 52% of their overall turnover goes on salaries. And look, I'm not saying they're guilty or not. I've done shows on what they've been alleged to have done, and I'm different from Paddy. They are innocent until proven guilty, in my view. But I think the notion that if they are guilty of heavy financial doping, that hasn't helped create where they are now. It's a bit like when you watch a show like Power. I can't watch any of the new stuff. They did Ghost dirty for me, and I'll never watch it again after that because the way they didn't even kill him properly. You didn't even see it. Anyway, I hate what they did to my Ghost. But that guy had all that money, but it was built upon selling narcotics. That doesn't make him a successful businessman because how he built his money and his contacts to get there was through illegitimate gains. And that's essentially what Man City are alleged to have done. You have built this empire fraudulently, which means everything you're achieving now might be real, but it's propped up by bad money, and I think that's why they've got.
But that's football in general, though. They're just trying to get us down because.
Hang on a minute. So can you give me but it's not though. So Big Steve tried to accuse. Not accuse, but he said to Gary Neville about you probably do the same thing at Salford. And Gary Neville, I don't think he'd stand there and lie because people could go and check this. None of the money that comes into Salford comes from any businesses that Gary Neville or any of the class of 92 or Peter or Paul Lim, whatever his name is, any businesses that they have any connection to in any way, shape, or form. So they're not everybody is doing it at any level of the game. You know, my brother's team, Leighton Orient, are owned by the owners of Dunkin' Donuts, who are how much money do Dunkin' Donuts have? They're not pumping billions of pounds into Leighton Orient because they're not allowed to do that. So it's not everybody is doing it.
It's relative, though. It's relative. It's relative.
What do you mean it's relative?
You're comparing Leighton Orient to Manchester City.
No, I'm talking about billionaire companies. They're not everyone's doing what Man City are alleged to have done. Not everybody is doing.
Leighton Orient wouldn't be able to do that anyways.
Why?
Because they're Leighton Orient. Do you think Dunkin' Donuts could put £100 million into Leighton Orient?
Why not?
If they took Man City's owner rule book, they could do it. Yeah.
No, they couldn't. Because they're in the Champions League.
Don't make that back in the day.
Why couldn't a sponsor? Why wouldn't answer me this question, please, Brand? Sorry. Why wouldn't a sponsor pay Leighton Orient £100 million a year to sponsor their shirts?
Because they're Leighton Orient.
But go deeper on that.
They're called investors. You literally do that to invest into a club. You're trying to get your money back. Do you understand? So why would you do that?
Exactly, they're called investors. So the accusations leveled at Man City, a club that was selling exponentially less shirts than Real Madrid a decade ago, were landing sponsorship deals 3 or 4 times bigger. It doesn't make sense, does it?
And also in the Premier League, if you are done for anything like that, historically you would have got a fine. Whereas in the Football League, you're looking at points and points deductions, and they're not able to make that back. Look at how many teams have been mashed up by points deductions in the Football League. Look at like Reading. Look at Luton, like back in the day. Birmingham, Sheffield Wednesday. It's happened to them all. So once they spend that little bit too much or anything like that, they get the pressure. They get the investigations happen very quickly, and then they get punished good and proper, and they start off the following season. In the Premier League, it takes a lot of time. I mean, I think the only reason why Forest has been quite quick and Everton has happened quite quickly is because it's just 1, maybe 2 counts.
Yeah,
so that it doesn't take as long to investigate.
Sorry, just because we've got some other things we've got to get onto. In fairness to Man City, the Nottingham Forest and Everton situations are completely different. Again, today I've seen people say, "Well, how come City haven't been done yet?" They're not even the same scenarios in any way, shape, or form. Does cheating make you make an illegitimate club, or is it the severity of cheating? Because then a few clubs on this panel are legit. Is cheating okay sometimes? Well, no, cheating isn't okay, but the severity of cheating is different. So if, for instance, Man City have cheated, but they've funneled an extra £3 million in only, that hasn't had a significant impact on where they've gone. If they've funneled in £3 billion, it's vastly different. So of course the severity, it's you can't compare jaywalking to robbing a bank. The severity in life matters. Of course it does, my friend. City are great, but come on, no money, no pep, no players. Navi here says, if United wins the FA Cup, Spurs miss out on Champions League. Don't know what that means.
No, that wouldn't.
It won't be true at all. Ross Barkley, very good at 19. He was, but he weren't at this level, in my opinion. It's still the same cup for the record books. That's back to earlier on about the Champions League. I agree with that, to be fair. This is from Della Spurs, who says, this fan base wants to run away and hide from the fact that this keeps happening to our club. No matter if it's Ange, Conte, Mourinho, whoever, if we don't bring in world-class winning talent, we will not win trophies. Levy out. I agree with that 100%. Big up to Kate. She has more balls than any of the other Spurs fans that run away from the match reaction. Always shows up. Earned my respect. That's from an Arsenal fan. Tony. Thank you, Tony. Which is bigger? Big Ange's high line or the gap in expressions his teeth? Leave X alone. He's a legend, bruv. Also, what Fulham did to Spurs is haram, especially in Ramadan. You're taking a miss at expressions, but then you're still in these line, my bro.
Yeah.
Spurs have no leaders on the field, and it shows. Makes sense. That makes sense. Messing Paddy, so I want us to win 2 Champions Leagues in my life. Big up, Sam. Thank you, bro. This guy is having a laugh. So you were telling me City make more money than United, Bayern, Real Madrid, and Arsenal. Let's be real.
Yeah, of last year, due to accounts of winning 300 million in revenues of prize money, then yeah, they
Thank
have.
you very much. That's what I'm trying to say. If we're talking
Yeah,
football, if we're talking football alone, we make more money than all these other guys.
So none of the money that's been made last year is under question, though.
I don't know. You know what it is, Terry? I'm not qualified to talk about. I ain't seen everything. I know a lot of these charges are crap, but there's a section
But you don't need to be qualified. I keep hearing this. Sorry, Kaz. You don't need to be qualified. And I tell you why you don't need to be qualified, right?
I've what I'm saying. I haven't seen the emails. I ain't seen accounts. I ain't seen.
If you haven't looked at any of it and read the story, it makes sense. But you don't need to be qualified. Otherwise, none of us should be sitting here talking about football because none of us have FIFA coaching badges. None of us have been professional football players. And people keep saying to me, "Are you a lawyer?" I'm like, no, but I'm reading what's been said, and I go, "Well, that needs to. We need an explanation for that." Equally, we just do. Same as with my club. When there's been stuff come out about Man United in the last year or so involved with Anthony and everything else, I've been highly critical of how it's been run because I don't want the club being run in that way. I don't need to be an expert in that particular area of the world to say, "Well, that doesn't sound right." Do you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like we all have political opinions, but none of us are politicians. We can have an opinion on this without being experts in financial crime. I personally think. Terry, apologize for being wrong. Third-party analyzers have shown their sponsorships were at market value at the time, but they're not. The accusation isn't that they're not at market value. That's none of the accusations. The accusations are by the emails that have been leaked. Now, some say hacked. Yes, they were hacked. It was an ex-Man City employee who logged back into their account and downloaded the emails. Technically, that's hacking. That's very different from some little kid in his mum's bedroom hacking into their system. So the accusations are not that they were out of market value per se. The majority of the accusations are that Etihad Airways are meant to pay, and I'm making these figures up here because I don't remember them off the top of my head, meant to pay £70 million a year. But the accusations are that the Sheikh was pumping that money into Etihad Airways himself, and then they were funneling it onto Manchester City. That is what the accusations are. So that's all I can say about it. So again, the fair market value is what it is, but that is not what the majority of the accusations are about.
You know what I find mad? Because I've seen Omar Barada's name on some of these emails, and we're about to employ him.
Exactly. He wouldn't go United. If he was guilty, he wouldn't go United because he was with us just a year ago.
I hear you.
Go to prison.
I hear that. But
he would go down just with the rest of them, innit?
When you say go, so again, that's a really good point. Other than every article I've read, every single bit of evidence that's been put out into the public domain, Omar Barada's name has not been seen on any of it. So if those emails, for instance, that have been leaked, that have been everywhere, had his name and his signature and he was commenting, I'd say, what the hell are we doing? But there's no evidence that he was involved in any of the.
Well, they're saying the Haaland contract still go down because City has an agent. I know that about that, and he's the one that signed it off, though. The Haaland.
Yes, but none of the accusations
are getting investigated.
All the accusations that predate Haaland joining the club.
Well, I don't even know for it. That's why I said I don't know too much. But all I know that from what I've been told from so and so and all that kind of stuff, he's the one that done the deal. And last time I checked, anyways, yeah, it's. Why just wait anyways? Like, we can talk about it. We can go on for another half an hour or so. But, mate, City fans have said themselves. Anyways, the ones that actually go to games, the one that's been around for a long time, not the newborn fans, but maybe a couple of them, they get charged and they go down to National League. They said because they deserve it. And they'll still go and support City. And the other one, they go back to sport, like brands and everybody else go back to supporting Chelsea. Do you know what I mean?
Just in the interest of time, there's a couple of other subjects I wanted to talk about. One involving Chelsea. I want to start with the Arsenal one. Ben White's been getting a lot of crap the last few days because reportedly he's refused to join up with the England team. Gav, as an Arsenal fan, what do you make of this onslaught, saying that he's letting his country down, he's going to regret this decision, he shouldn't be saying no to playing for England, Ben White? Do you agree with that?
I think it's clear that there's an issue between him and Southgate and the coaching team because of what happened in the World Cup. So I don't know whether it's just a little bit of appeasement. It's almost like a throwaway. Here you go. You can have a cap if you like or whatever. He's not fancied. And if he does go, is there friendlies? He's not going to be starting when everyone's fit ahead of Kyle Walker or Trent. I don't think in England team. Do I think he's better than it, like anyone in particular? I think it's out for debate, really. But I think he should have gone, if I'm honest. But I'm glad he hasn't because I want him fit for the end of the season, selfishly.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, the crazy thing is, I saw an interview on TalkSport today where both Martin O'Neill and Simon Jordan criticize him for not going. They criticize Arsenal for getting involved. Simon Jordan then slags him off for having too many sunbeds, but they both then say, "But none of us know any of the facts, so we shouldn't really comment on it."
Exactly. Why we could speculate. We can sit on this show. We could be wherever we like and talk about it. But we're gonna have to wait another 4, 5, 6 years until the book comes out, and then we find out the real as to what happened. Because when he went to the World Cup, it was the World Cup squad, isn't it? That he came home from. It wasn't the Euros. It's World Cup. And I was like. I was so excited about it, and I was thinking, yeah, it's about time he deserved his flowers. Is he going to go as a centre half? Are we going to play a back three, and then he's going to play on the right side of that? Is he going to play where? And then all of a sudden, he's out of the squad. Something happened, and nobody knows about it, and everyone's sworn to secrecy about it. Because if someone wanted to know about it, we would have been told. Either Southgate would have said something, Ben White would have said something, one of the other England players would have said something, one of the Arsenal England players would have said something. Everybody's been sworn to secrecy. So some shit went down, and it must have been bad for him to walk out on it. And he hasn't even been considered for squad since then. And it's only just now where he's been considered again, and he's chosen to say no right now. But he wants the door left open. That tells me that he's not happy with Southgate, Steve Holland. I've heard rumours that him and Steve Holland have got drama. So as far as I'm concerned, if he is considered for a squad once Southgate leaves and he rejects it, then that's on him. But if he ends up going, then we know that it's a Southgate/Steve Holland problem.
I want to ask you this question, Kaz, because I know you're like me. You're on loan at Arsenal in the Premier League this year because we want to win.
Get my jersey, mate.
Do you potentially feel like this is a way of the media that we know have an agenda against Arsenal? It's facts. Do you believe this is the way of them trying to unsettle players, the squad, the ethos, trying to get some? Because you know what might now happen to Ben White at games, booing him and everything else. You think it's a way of trying to unsettle them? And you see Paddy's reaction down there. Tell me it might be true.
Wait, I want to see what Paddy has to say first.
Paddy.
Bro, agenda against Arsenal. They're the media darlings, man.
They're definitely not. They're definitely not.
What? If there's an agenda against anyone, it's Liverpool. And you're going to say, typical.
God.
If there's an agenda against anyone, it's Liverpool. Everyone hates Liverpool. Every non-Liverpool fan hates Liverpool.
No.
And that goes towards referees.
No, they don't.
Media.
No, they don't. No one hates Liverpool. Everyone hates Liverpool fans. There's a difference.
They hate the club too.
That's so crap.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So
not to mention, Scousers themselves get unfair abuse from everywhere else in England. They're treated differently, even though it's the best.
That's because they claim that they're not English. That Scouse is a whole country on its own.
Because they were ostracized by their own government and stuff back in the 80s. They were made to feel like that. It's not their fault. Anyway, Arsenal are media darlings. There's not a narrative against Arsenal. It's absolutely absurd.
They're really not. I disagree. Everyone on this panel, can we all agree that the true media darlings are Liverpool, and nothing ever gets bad said about Liverpool?
Yes,
whatsoever.
Without a shadow of a doubt, Liverpool. Liverpool get defended. We're talking football here. I don't want to get into anything political, anything. I know that there's stuff that happened at the game yesterday. I've called out all them things. I'm just not talking about it on this show specifically. I've done that on other platforms. But Liverpool get praised no matter how good or bad they are. To compare, what I've witnessed in the last 18 months.
Terry? Did you not see yesterday, Terry? They still tried to credit Liverpool despite
all I've seen today all I've seen today on most of the big media outlets is Man United didn't win, Liverpool lost, but they had the kids, but the injuries, Klopp still doing it. The same media that said, how dare Arsenal say bigger fish to fry, are today saying about Liverpool, but they've got bigger fish to fry. That's defending you. If it was the other way around, if we had gone out, it would have been an onslaught. You've been defended. What I'm saying about Arsenal is Arsenal are the only team I've genuinely seen, and maybe it's just a social media era, where the tide changes no matter what's going on. We saw it with the Champions League last week. No way they can win it. 7th or 8th best team left in it. Oh, so they've got as far as they can go then. Yeah, they're no way good enough to get to the next round. So they've basically achieved their objective in the Champions League this year. No, if they go out, they're flopped. That doesn't get said about Liverpool ever. That's what Arsenal fans go through. And the reason I defend it is because Man United will go for it if we ever get back to the top. And we did yesterday. And I put a tweet out about this yesterday, where one journalist said United fans celebrating hard for winning that game shows how they become a small club. And then the next journalist turned around and said, Man United are so soulless and such a tin pot organisation at its core. They don't understand what it is like to win a big FA Cup game, and they wouldn't celebrate it. They're talking out of both sides of their mouths crazy. And I have to say, Paddy, Liverpool get more loving than any other top 6 club in Premier League history. Facts.
Honestly, I appreciate your opinion, but I'm actually feel like I've been living in a different world. Anyone can have that opinion.
Yeah, because you're a Liverpool fan.
All I've seen on social media since the game.
Hold
on. All I've seen on social media since the game is every fucker and their mother taking a German man's words in his secondary language and saying, "Oh, he called the interviewer fat." And they're trying to spin a negative narrative and everything.
When he's talking
mental.
Okay, Paddy, let's take the fat part away. Okay, let's take the fat part away. I would say I don't care if it's his second language. Jurgen Klopp speaks fluent English.
He does.
Let's just talk about was it
speak fluent English?
I think
he does speak fluent English.
He's been in the country for a decade.
What are you on about? He speaks fluent English.
Let's just say he doesn't speak. Let's just say he doesn't speak fluent English.
Sorry.
Let's just say he doesn't speak fluent English. Then let's just agree to disagree on that one, right? He said the reason the media are going at him is because he said the first question was...
Sorry. The media are going at him, but I thought everyone loved Liverpool.
No. Hang on a minute. No. Because there's no getting out of this one. However, a lot of the pundits on these media outlets are still defending him, but the media are rightfully, but it's more so social media that are going for him. But this is one where they can't defend him. You can't call a reporter dumb for asking a seriously good question. You can't then steal his equipment and walk away with it. Like, surely you as a Liverpool fan, with the honour and the respect that your club comes from you must surely condemn Jurgen Klopp's actions from yesterday.
Klopp didn't steal his bike. He wanted to return it for him to save him going back and walking. He wanted to save him the trip. He was...
you are deluded, bro.
To be fair, I didn't see the mic thing. I haven't been on social media too much since the game for obvious reasons, but... You literally have just contradicted the whole point here. The reason the media are at Klopp, you said you said the media is for Liverpool and Klopp. I don't get it.
Yes, they are.
Hang on
a minute. What I didn't say, Paddy, you've almost got me there, but it didn't quite happen. I didn't say that Liverpool never get criticised. I didn't say that Jurgen Klopp never does anything wrong and people don't call him out for certain things. He got called out by the media when Liverpool wrote the letter to the PGMOL. I'm just talking generally speaking. There'll be people doing what you just did. It wasn't as bad. It's Jurgen Klopp. He's a good character. If it was Arteta. Arteta, by the way, got slammed by everybody in the media for celebrating a goal. Jurgen Klopp, yes, he's been criticised, but he's also been defended for insulting a journalist and stealing his equipment. That's because he's...
Imagine Arteta done that.
What do people want? He's just lost the match. It's his final season. It's his last ever FA Cup game. He's never going to play in Wembley again. He's just lost. What people want? For sure. I fucking love losing. Please keep asking me these questions.
He's never cared about the FA Cup anyway. How many times?
There can still be grace in defeat, and there can still be poor in defeat, and it doesn't matter what the situation is. I don't really. The last time I seen mad moments was, or seen any clips, was obviously the Kevin Keegan stuff, blah blah. There's not actually many of those moments. He actually gets away with this type of thing a lot. He talks to reporters like crap all the time. This guy
plays every time he loses.
It's just, it's okay. He loves football, and he's a sore loser, like a lot of us. We're all sore losers. We come and complain, and guess what? We get salty. He just had a salty. He's a grown man with potential grandkids. I don't know. At your age, I'm just trying to say this. I want to go through this quickly, Terry, right? Man United get criticized the most because obviously biggest club, It is what it is, and we deserve it, by the way. We deserve a lot of criticisms. Arsenal, no matter what they do well, it gets spun, and we can all admit that, right? Chelsea have been... let's not get started on Chelsea, right?
Let me just jump in there. Chelsea are not media darlings. They just so much gets ignored. Spoken about.
It is what it is, right? If we keep going through, who's the last couple? Was it Tottenham? Again, not media darlings, because it's the same old story. That's why we call them bottle jobs and all that. And even they don't even respect them in the media, to be fair. And then obviously now it comes down to you boys, Liverpool. I'm not being funny. I'm one of the few Man United fans that's happy to do a video or go out there and actually compliment Liverpool. I don't care what my fan base has to say. If a team's good, a team's been good. And for most of this season, you've been quite solid, to be fair. But in moments of like some performances, you've been quite garbage, but you don't get criticised. Because Jamie, what's his name?
What do you mean? We're 1 point off the top of the league. We won the Carabao Cup, and why should we be criticised? Who gives a shit if we played bad in patches? We're 1 point off the top of the league, man.
You didn't play badly. You didn't play badly.
In general. We're talking in general. I'm not even just from this season, but I'm talking more of this in general. But for obviously in this season, you've been good, in my opinion. That's why you're top. And you're better than everybody else's inconsistencies, right? I mean, now you're not top. It's goal difference. You've done really well. That's fine. Even when you don't want it with kids, like, what about that? Chelsea's for the kids? They won a game. Where's their praise? Like, come on, man.
I hear you. And look, and back to the original point of this conversation, I just look at this Ben White stuff and think Arsenal have done the right thing. They've reached out and said, look, he's not interested in being part of England whilst the current setup is there because there's a problem between them. That's a good thing for England. Why do you want a player coming along that doesn't get on with the coaching staff and vice versa, which can be detrimental? But instead of England and the media surrounding them just saying, let's just keep this quiet, we don't even need to... I know he's playing well at the minute, so, I mean, Arsenal fans haven't helped the situation. They know why he's not there. Why are you calling for him to be in the squad? You know there's a problem. But just keep it quiet. The way Southgate threw him under the bus and the way the media are now jumping on it, I really do see it as an attempt to try and destabilise Arsenal's season as it's going so well for them, and they're just trying to throw something out there that can be a problem, which is crazy. We'll do some super chats in a minute.
Terry,
oh my god, go on.
With like when he left the England squad for the World Cup, I don't think they handled it right. If they turned around and said, oh, you know, it's for personal reasons, whatever, we want to wish him support. They made it like a no comment situation. And if you turn it into that, that's when things are going to go wrong. I think it's been handled badly from an English FA point of view rather than from a Ben White thing from prior.
No, I hear you.
To be fair, Ben White couldn't go to the Euros anyway because he's going on Love Island. That's why.
Hey, let's go.
I want to give a shout out to our title. By the way, 8,400 people watching, biggest top 6 show in the history of the Football Terrace in terms of live viewers. So thank you everyone who has tuned in so far. Absolutely amazing. Please make sure you've liked the show, you've shared the show on your social media platforms, get as many people here as possible. I want to shout out our title sponsors though. Match Bingo, I swear to you, it's the best game to play during any type of football match, Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, whatever it may be. It's just like normal bingo, but instead of numbers you're waiting for, it's incidents in the games, throw-ins, saves, goals in particular minutes, how many substitutions happen. You get one line, you win some money. If you're the first to get 2 lines, you win some money. If you're the first to get a full house, you win even more money. We're giving away 10 free cards per month until the end of the season. You've got about 2 months to capitalize upon this. You must be in the UK and over the age of 18. I absolutely love the game. I play it religiously now. Generally, when it isn't my team playing, because I can't concentrate when it's Man United, I go for other teams out there. So get yourself signed up now for the international break. It's absolutely top notch by scanning the QR code on the screen or clicking on the link below. This here says Liverpool are woke. That's why the media love them. I don't know what that means. I don't really know what that means. I know what woke means, but I don't really get what you mean by that, my bro. You have to expand on that, but keep it clean, please.
No, don't let it. Don't.
Liverpool has to have the most cringiest fan base. I don't know about that. I don't think they're cringy.
Definitely Arsenal fans on Twitter are the worst.
In what way?
Arsenal fans have the worst set of fans on Twitter. They are the most delusional people I've ever encountered.
In what every team has the worst fan base on Twitter. Let's be serious.
No, yeah, but Arsenal have the worst. But
no, I'm sort of with Paddy a little bit.
Give us a specific example, Paddy, of what you don't like from Arsenal fans. Give us some specificity on that.
Just like, so, for example, obviously, listen, Arteta's been doing a solid job. Last year, they bought all the title. But they've, to this moment, to this date, they've still not achieved anything. And yet, they're already saying, oh, this Arsenal team is better than this City team. And they just think they're them, even though they're still nobody just yet. You get me?
Do you know what? I semi-agree with you. actually. And like, if you notice my Twitter, I don't talk a lot about Arsenal at all because I don't want to be put into a bracket with some of the absolutely deluded Arsenal fans. But at the same time, every club has that group. Every single club. Spurs fans, as soon as they win a game, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go on and win the league and do this. Man United fans, yeah, you know, all the things that have happened before. We're back now. Ten Hag's doing this. Every single fan base has got that little bit of delusion. And if you give it traction, then it goes off.
My general rule is this: if they don't have their real name or face showing on Twitter, I don't take it seriously. So you can have a different name. There's nothing wrong with changing your name. But
Silky Saka.
Yeah, but you've got to show your face. Secondly, and I don't mean this rudely to you, Paddy, most TikTokers I don't take seriously because we all know how that algorithm works. You say the most outrageous things. You could literally have 0 followers today. If you just go on that and say the most outrageous things, you could have 100,000 followers in a week and make money. So that's what they do. So those two groups, I don't take their opinions seriously from the perspective of that's what they really think. I see it all as a way of generating interaction, which is fair play to them, if that makes sense. So there are a lot of delusional people on all sides. There's no doubt about that. But I get your frustration. This is some of the Middle Eastern companies that sponsor City were like a week old, had no staff or website set up. Obviously dodgy.
Fact.
What do you say to that, Brands, about some of the companies as to this day don't have any staff, don't sell products, don't have any income, but they sponsor tens of millions of pounds a year to City?
What do I have to say about that?
So you know,
brother,
I got to find someone else to answer that question. You have to understand me. I'm not too invested in that. That's the thing. I just hope that it's not true. That's my biggest hope. But I try to turn a blind eye to that stuff. I just mainly focus on the football because I know nothing. I know about 5 of the charges, bro.
Do you know what I would say, bro? Though I understand that, right? I wouldn't turn a blind eye to it, though. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Get ballpark. 20, right? So you've only known City since they got the takeover, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So you would have been like 5 years old when that takeover happened. So you're not. It makes sense that you support City, right? I understand that. If they have cheated to the degree that's been accused, your whole footballing life has gone. They've erased it all. I would be, genuinely, if this all turns out, I don't
think they'll erase it though. I just think they just put asterisks.
But it would be erased. It's like
it's like the Juventus thing.
If it turned out that Usain Bolt had cheated for all these gold medals, we would all, whether we all want to admit it now or not, we would all look at him differently than the greatest athlete
like
of all
Lance
time
Armstrong.
that we think he is. Lance Armstrong is the same.
I want it back.
Exactly. And this is what I've always said this from the first time these accusations came out. The group of people genuinely I feel the most sorry for is City fans. Because although they don't want to say it publicly, and I get why, it's your history that's gone. And what I mean by gone, you may still think, oh, I've still got those memories, but football won't recognize it. Yeah. And that is what we're all fighting for. We're all fighting, whether we want to admit it or not, to have the records, to have the trophies. And I know it grates on our rivals when they have to say that United, this team was great, this team was great. It hurts me saying Liverpool are great. But if that gets removed, you might have the trophies in your own world. But if the rest of football doesn't recognize it, it's worth nothing. And that's why I think you should focus on it and see what you really think and feel.
As much as I hate City, and I hope the club is deleted from existence, and I wish they're the worst thing ever. They're like Big Steve said in the overlap, unless the men in black come and zap his memory, they've still lived these moments and will have them forever. So as much as the history books may change, and I don't ever, by the way, if they do get charged, I don't want any retrospective titles handed to anyone. Just get them taken off them, for example. But Man City fans have still lived it and will live with those memories no matter what. So from a fan's point of view, they don't really care. If they do get charged and go down to thing, they've already completed football. But that's
I don't care. I'll still care.
But that's the sick thing about it. They've been able to
Paddy, do you play Football Manager, Paddy?
I've done before a little bit, yeah.
When you were younger like me, have you ever saved it before a big final, played it and lost and reset it and started it again and then won the final? It never feels as good, does it?
No, I don't.
Because you know deep down inside you cheated. I've got a funny feeling, as much as City fans still need it.
Terry, you do that to this day. Don't lie. You still do that.
Mate, still do. I love winning. But no, do you know what I used to when I was younger? And I used to. Me and my brother used to come in from school. You know, back in that proper cheats where you had to do coding with your fingers on the control pad. We used to do it, and then I got a bit older, and I was like, why am I using cheats on Metal Gear Solid where I can't die? I would complete every level, beat every boss, but it was like I didn't actually win because I cheated. And I think that's the thing with City fans. I think it's very easy before the fact to say I will feel no different. If it's proven, they're gonna feel different. You're just gonna. You can't help it. I don't think. But
the memories are there, but you will feel different. It's like there's a dark cloud over it. You're looking at it saying, we won the treble, but man, we cheated, man. Like we actually cheat. Like you do it. It doesn't matter. That's everything in life.
Paddy hopes. We talk the way we do in reactions to how you see us. Sorry, we talk the way we do in reactions to how you see us. I don't know what you mean, AJ. I don't know what you mean.
Arsenal fans on Twitter, I think.
Do you know what it is with? You know what it is with why Liverpool fans are more based on this more than Man United fans with the cheat stuff and that? It's because they just want to call it the Klopp era. Like when it's just Pep era, they will call it Klopp and Pep era. When really it's just a Pep era. They just want it so bad. You want it so bad. Like you just want recognition so bad. And
they want it to be Fergie Wenger, don't they? They want their own involvement.
And the thing is, it's not.
But it can't be. It can't be.
It can't even be that because they finished below us like 3 out of 5 years.
Paddy, can I ask you a question? Honestly, we know you want City to win the FA Cup. If you can't win the league, who do you want to win it, City or Arsenal?
City.
Then that rivalry ain't real.
Rivalry ain't real. No. Listen. Let me cook. Listen. So we're all sitting here. We're talking about City's charges, City's this, the illegitimacy of it. So therefore, it's also irrelevant. So just if they get another one, fair dues. But if Arsenal get one, then it'll be prime Mikel Arteta was better than Jurgen Klopp because they got the same amount of Premier Leagues, but they like to gloss over.
It's been 20 years since we won the league.
No, hold on. Liverpool finished second to a financial doping, sport washing, state-backed team by a solitary.
Even there's a Tottenham fan in the corner that is looking at you funny right now, Paddy.
And you
come
like sport
on.
washing.
There's a Tottenham fan that is looking at you going, "Come on, man." Off the back of
she still has Sissoko's handball in the UCL final rent free in her head.
So Paddy, so you do admit then that the Liverpool City rivalry is fugazi?
It's not fugazi at all. It's fugazi in terms of it shouldn't have been a rivalry. It should have been just Klopp. The Klopp era has been ruined by a sport washing, state-backed cheating regime.
It's fugazi. It's not a rivalry. Yeah, I hear you. Hey,
but Leicester won the league title in the Klopp era. What's that about?
But to push the thing, to push the thing on you, to push this back on you, Paddy. If Arsenal beat City to the league this year, they've also done what you've done and beaten, in your words, a sport washing, cheating City to a league title, and they've beaten you to it. Does that not surpass yours because they've beaten you? That's amazing, and the cheats in your eyes.
Well, I don't know why we're talking about anyone beating anyone. There's 1 point in it. Let's see what happens. Arsenal were on top of the
hypothetical for a reason.
Simple question, Paddy. Don't deflect.
No, but user. What I hate is football. The minute someone tries to the minute someone dilutes this Klopp Pep challenge to the 5-1, the minute someone does that, it shows their lack of integrity and ball knowledge. Because if you really were a proper football fan, you'd be able to add the context of this rivalry. 1 point twice. 1 fucking point. Let's not act like we weren't right there competing.
But your Klopp era started, can I point this real quick here? Your Klopp era started what, 2015, 16, or was it then?
It was 2015 he got the job, wasn't it? 2015, but Leicester won the league.
Leicester won it. Then if Man City got the front, then Man United would have won it. And if we go further along, then this Klopp era would have been bogus, anyways, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, let's stop this. Look, the thing is, I don't understand. You know what? The whole point is, I think Liverpool fans have a lot to be annoyed about, and that has probably come down to refereeing as well. And I think you deserve to have more titles. I'm going to be honest as a United fan. I won't troll no more, right? But if you talk about this rivalry that you hate Man City so much, but you can't even decide if you'd rather Man City or Arsenal to win a damn FA Cup when the FA Cup is Arsenal's trophy anyways. Do you know how like in my head, do you know how that comes to me?
No, the reason, if you're asking me who would I rather, City or Arsenal to win the league, the reason I'd say City is because it's less impactful. It's like, okay, that's another one of their sport washing cheating shit. The minute Arsenal win it would create a whole seismic change of debate and Arteta versus Klopp. And frankly, I'm not fucking here for the Arsenal waffle.
I get where Paddy. I know. I see this, and it's why last year, randomly out of nowhere, Liverpool fans created this really big agenda, I suppose, against Arsenal. And why their pundits online and their ex-pros that are in the media all did this, because they know that this becomes a really big conversation. They know suddenly that, especially if then Arteta goes on to win another one, or maybe a Champions League, in terms of where Arteta could sit in terms of the Premier League hierarchy of managers, I think they feel that Klopp's legacy is a little bit under threat, especially if City are proven innocent and they haven't cheated and they haven't done anything wrong, then it becomes even more precarious for them. And I do get it, because everyone fights for the rivalry and, they fight for wanting their team to be on top. Guys, look, and ladies, I want to say a big thank you to everybody that has tuned into the show today. We have one more super chat, actually, that says Ten Hag has had to put up with stupid questions all season. After a loss, Klopp loses it, and he's losing it at journalists. No class at all unless he wins. He's not very classy when he loses, Klopp, to be fair. That is very, very true. I want to thank everybody that has tuned in. I want to thank everybody who has hit the like button. Please get it done before you leave. Big shout out to our title sponsors, Match Bingo. Go and download the app. Go and have a look. Go and have a play with it. It really is amazing. And you can win a little bit of money. And the great thing about Match Bingo is that so much of their proceeds goes to the Stroke Association. It's all about raising money for victims and the families of strokes and all the issues that people have after that, physically and mentally. So listen, you'll be helping out a really great cause as well. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God